All right, Wemerge rocks. I give it up to the local publication, contributing and supporting the local art community. The wild and unadulterated raw expression, regardless of rules, regardless of opinions, regardless of politics, and who you know.
Hello everyone, my name is Renda Ryder, Chief Editor of Wemerge magazine, and we're here today with Daniel Fila. He's an illustrator and artist, and we're at his studio at the Bakehouse Art Complex, which is in Miami in the Design District. We're here at Studio 30, hanging out with Daniel, and we're going to be interviewing him today. He's our featured artist in the 7th issue. And we just got over Art Basel, which was just about 2 weeks ago, and you played a big role in that.
People say, they want to be involved in Basel. I don't think they realize what they're talking about. It's become an accumulation of different fairs and fringe art shows, and every artist and people that aren't necessarily artists become artists for those 6 days in Miami. So it's great for the city. It's great for everyone here. In 2003, I accidentally became involved in it because I went and painted one of these walls in Wynwood. It was actually in the Design District, like 10 days before Basel was happening. In the past few years, I've been more involved inside gallery spaces, and this year I did 2, where one was a collaborative and one was an individual show here, as well as the wall that I paint every year. So
that's good. So you mentioned the wall that you do every year with Basel, and you're known for this Aaron wall. And every year at Basel, you kind of add to it or whatever. So
the Aaron wall started as a canvas painting that I did in Ohio at school, and when I brought it to Miami, it took a life of its own. I think that the character itself is like an embodiment of maybe what a Miami chica or typical woman would represent. I've used that wall, what I'm calling it now, is like perpetual painting, where the painting evolves over time, and I'm starting to offer that to clients as well. Like, they commission a piece, and maybe every year or two, I add to it, or the painting grows as the people do and as I do. And the relationship I have with the building owner is crucial, and he's a great contributor and patron of the arts. So that wall is basically my portfolio.
That's really cool, and I like what you were talking about doing commissioned pieces for people with updates. A few exhibits, but let's talk about the exhibit here. That's the lead poisoning exhibit. So tell us a little, why is it called that? What's the theme, and what are we looking at here?
All right. Lead poisoning came about because I started doing drawing. It's called Peeking In, and the guy, I think it was during a time when I was about to show with some of my colleagues. I mean, as today, I felt excluded, in a lot of ways. So I think that's kind of my expression of, like, I'm walking into the art show, and that's really how I might be I'm totally exposed in that, which I think is very brave. The story for me for a long time. I've always felt this exclusion. I don't know, just being shut out. This piece, the most recent one for lead poisoning, it's called Opportunity. Fiddling with this key, and there's this gigantic lock that he's trying to, open, but it's not really a doorway. And I think these are just 2 notches in time, like maybe there's a deadline, maybe there's something he has to get done. Whatever the urgency is, there's so much going on inside of his head, and there's like a whole front that he has to put on. There's snakes trying to penetrate. It's really, really, whether people like it or not, it's just the truest I can be with a pencil.
Tell us also about, as part of this lead poisoning exhibit, you've got the actual frame pieces on the wall, but then you've got these little sections of the wall where you drew directly on the wall, and I know you
were beyond the surface. There's way more beyond what's just hanging on the wall, site-specific works. And when people walk by the studio, I want them to not just say, "Oh, look at the paintings on the wall," and be like, "What the hell is that?"
We're here at the Bakehouse, and this is where you're kind of a resident artist. You have a studio here.
I gotta say first that I love the Bakehouse. The Bakehouse offered resources, organization, management, a collective movement of artists.
It's great. For anyone watching, we encourage you to come down to the Bakehouse, check out Daniel Fila's studio as well as all the others. How many studios are there altogether?
There's 70 studios.
Mike Rivamonte, we're doing a half page. He's in this current issue too. We've got a half page story about his robot sculptures and all that. Definitely check out MikeRivamonte.com. But Wemerge magazine has always had a tradition of highlighting graffiti ever since our first issue. We took an interest in you because you're a fine artist, you're successful, you've got business savvy, but your start was in graffiti as a kid. So tell us a little bit about that, like how your evolution went from going from graffiti to this today.
People looking at it like, wow, those guys don't give a crap about what anyone thinks. They'll just do whatever they want.
Graffiti was kind of like your boot camp, your training ground for toughening you up for the actual art world that you're in now. So you
born in Miami, Florida, 1980. Went to art school starting at middle school, and I spent a lot of time in high school traveling from South Miami all the way to downtown, where I would take the Metro Rail, and I was exposed to graffiti. Graduated from South Miami Senior High and went to Ohio, where I continued my studies as an illustrator, and also stayed doing graffiti up there. Brought a lot of graffiti to Ohio. It wasn't really. This one is called What's to Come. It was the most recent commission from actually a friend, Jason Bauman, who really met me on a philosophical level. In this piece, you'll see a lot of visual metaphors. I've always been very cautious of our liberties being jeopardized in this country. I mean, since the Bush administration. So this is the farthest I've gone politically with artwork. Tumultuous skies, that speaks of climate change, pollution. $1 bill, it's a visual metaphor for our currency being devalued. Our dollar being devalued to the point where it's just obvious refuse because it's being used in a bird's nest. All right, the piece you're looking at now was commissioned by MTV during the VMA Awards in 2004 when they came down and got in touch with the city of Miami. And it was called 5 Element. Each platform symbolizes another element of hip-hop. You've got MCing, breakdancing, DJing, graffiti, and attitude. This piece was important really because it launched me. I was still doing freelance illustration at the time, but this thing paid me. And I got to go move out and open up a studio. And since then, after that leap, I have never turned back. So a little bit about what you're doing with your next installation. It's a commission from the Miami-Dade Parks Department. It's going to be at 80 Barnes Park mid-January. You have to be willing to take all the pain and hardship that comes along with being an artist, because for the first few years you're not going to eat, you're not going to do anything.
Okay, action! Do me a favor, next question, look at me and ask a question, and then pass the mic to him. I just want to get you chatting and looking in the camera for a minute.
Okay, well, I kind of ask the question to him this way?
Yeah, ask the question to him, but maybe cheat a little bit to him, but more to me. Okay, and then pass the mic to him.